If I could go back and talk to my younger 20-year-old self and give him some advice, here's 30 things that I would say. Lesson 1. Climb the right mountain. The painful part? I was moving fast, but in the wrong direction. The truth is, direction matters more than speed. Ask yourself, is this the mountain I'm climbing even worth it? Because nothing hurts more than getting to the top and realizing it wasn't the life you wanted. Lesson 2. Your habits shape your future. You don't wake up at 30 and magically have a new life. Your 30s will simply reflect the habits you built in your 20s. If you spend every night out, every morning sleeping in, and every weekend wasting time, don't be surprised when you feel stuck later. Your life is a mirror of your daily actions. I didn't get this in my 20s. I thought the big moments were what shaped me. But it's not the big moments. It's the small, boring, daily ones. If you want a different tomorrow, change what you do today. Habits build your future. Lesson 3. Take full responsibility. Here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your boss, not the government. The moment you realize that, you stop being a victim of your situation. I wasted time blaming circumstances, complaining, and waiting for someone else to fix things. But the most freeing moment of my 20s is when I decided this is all on me. Taking responsibility feels heavy at first, but it's actually a power. Because once you own it, you can change it. You become the driver, not the passenger. Stop blaming, start owning. It's the only way forward. Lesson 4. Stop waiting, start acting. The biggest lie young people tell themselves is, I have time. I told myself that too. I'll start next year. I'll do it later. But here's the reality. Later turns into years wasted. I looked up at 29 and realized I'd spent way too much time waiting. The truth is, you don't need a perfect plan before you start. You need to start and figure it out along the way. Action creates clarity. You'll never have all the answers. Nobody does. The people who win aren't the ones who waited until everything was perfect. They're the ones who acted anyway. Lesson 5. Find purpose, not just a paycheck. Chasing money for the sake of money will leave you empty. I tried it. I thought if I just made more cash, I'd feel fulfilled. But it doesn't work that way. Because money is only a tool, not the end goal. What really matters is finding purpose. Doing something that gives you meaning, direction, and pride. That's when money starts to feel good, when it's tied to something bigger. For me, building my own business gave me that. I wasn't just working for a paycheck, I was building freedom. In your 20s, stop chasing only money. Start chasing purpose. Lesson 6. Your health is your wealth. Without your health, nothing else matters. I ignored mine for a long time. Bad food, late nights, stress, skipping workouts, and it caught up with me. That's when I realized your health is your real wealth. Because if you lose it, you lose everything. Energy is earned. You earn it by eating clean, exercising, and sleeping well. Not just once in a while, but consistently. If you look after your health in your 20s, you'll thank yourself in your 30s. If you ignore it, you'll pay for it later. Don't make health a side hustle. Lesson 7. Consistency compounds. Most people quit before they ever see results. They go to the gym for a few weeks, don't see a six-pack, and stop. They start a project, don't get instant results, and give up. But success doesn't come instantly. It comes from small actions done daily for years. Consistency is the multiplier. If you're consistent, you don't need to be the smartest or the most talented. You'll win because you stuck around long enough to see results. That's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. Ordinary actions done consistently lead to extraordinary outcomes. Stick with it. Lesson 8. Cut what drains you. You can't build your future if you're constantly drained. In my early 20s, I didn't realize how much my habits were stealing from me. Late nights, junk food, and constant self-sabotage. Every day I was starting from behind. When I finally cut those things, I felt sharper, more motivated, more focused. Ask yourself, what's draining me? Then cut it. Because the truth is, energy is everything. And if you don't have energy, you don't have a shot. You don't need to add more to your plate. Sometimes you just need to remove the things holding you back. Lesson 9. Mental health matters. The conversations you have with yourself are the most important. My inner voice used to destroy me. You're not good enough, you're too late, you'll fail. That voice stopped me before I even tried. Then I realized if I spoke to a friend the way I spoke to myself, they wouldn't even want to be around me. Why was I treating myself worse than a stranger? Mental health isn't just about therapy. It's also about self-talk. It's about managing your thoughts, your perspective, your habits. Your mind can either push you forward or chain you down. Treat it well. Lesson 10. Learn to be alone. I've always been more of an introvert, so being alone never really bothered me. In fact, I prefer it. But I've noticed a lot of people can't handle it. They constantly need noise, people, or distractions just to get through the day. Here's the truth: solitude is where clarity comes from. When you can sit with yourself, you start to figure out who you really are and what you actually want out of life. If you always need to be around people, you'll end up living their path instead of your own. Learning to be alone doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It just means being comfortable in your own company. That's when you stop chasing validation and start leading your life on your own terms. Lesson 11: Success loves speed. We live in a world where everyone waits. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect opportunity. But success doesn't reward waiting, it rewards action. I used to overthink everything. I'd spend months planning, doubting, tweaking ideas, and by the time I was ready, the opportunity was already gone. What I learned is this: the people who win aren't the ones to sit around thinking about it. They're the ones who move quickly. Success loves speed because speed creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence compounds into results. In your 20s, stop waiting to be perfect. Move fast, learn fast, and adjust as you go. Lesson 12: Consistency wins. Talent is great, intelligence is great, but consistency beats them both. I've seen talented people quit when it got hard. I've seen smart people overthink and never act. But the consistent people, they keep showing up and eventually they win. That's how it works. Success isn't about a huge burst of energy. It's about steady, consistent action over time. In my own life, the biggest changes didn't come from one big moment. They came from the boring, repetitive things I stuck with. Consistency is not sexy, but it's unstoppable. If you want to win in your 20s, focus on consistency. Lesson 13: Failure is feedback. I used to fear failure so much that I'd avoid taking action at all. But here's the shift that changed everything for me. Failure is just feedback. It's not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every time you fail, you learn something about what doesn't work, and that moves you closer to what does. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. The real failure is not trying. If you're in your 20s, stop fearing failure and start fearing regret. Because regret lasts forever, but failure is just a lesson. Lesson 14: Get uncomfortable often. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It's just a fact. Everything you want, money, freedom, skills, confidence, lives on the other side of discomfort. I learned this the hard way. For years, I avoided things that scared me: cold calls, putting myself out online, sales meetings, and so on. But when I finally pushed myself to do them, that's when I grew the most. Discomfort is the doorway to your next level. The faster you get used to it, the faster you'll progress. Your 20s are the time to lean into discomfort, because the more you face now, the stronger you'll be later. Lesson 15: Stay true to yourself. For too long, I lived for other people's approval. I wanted to fit in, I wanted to be liked. But here's what I learned: people are going to judge you no matter what. If you succeed, they'll judge. If you fail, they'll judge. If you do nothing, they'll still judge. So you might as well be judged for living life on your own terms. Staying true to yourself doesn't mean ignoring advice or refusing to learn. It means not bending who you are just to make people like you. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself, not their opinions. Lesson 16: Build real skills. In my 20s, I tried all the make money online things. Dropshipping, Shopify stores, Amazon FBA, you name it. And every time I thought this was going to be the thing. But what I didn't realize was I was chasing shiny objects, not actually building skills that would last me a lifetime. If I could go back, I'd spend way less time on distractions and way more time learning skills that pay you forever. Things like sales, running ads, marketing, copywriting, or even just learning how to solve problems for businesses. Because here's the truth: school doesn't teach you this. School trains you to memorize, not to be valuable in the real world. What I eventually landed on was lead generation. And the reason it clicked for me is because it's a skill, not a trend. Businesses will always need leads. If you can provide that, you'll never be broke. The real goal isn't a job title or some one-time win. The real goal is becoming valuable. Build skills and they'll pay you for decades. Lesson 17: Learn to sell and communicate. This one changed everything for me. At one point, I actually worked as a high-ticket closer just to get better at closing deals. And honestly, that experience taught me more about people and business than anything I ever learned in school. If you can sell, you can survive anywhere. If you can communicate, you can lead anywhere. Sales isn't about being pushy. It's about listening, understanding where someone's at, and showing them a solution that makes sense. Communication is influence. If you're in your 20s, make this a priority. Forget how awkward it feels at first. Sales and communication are life skills. They'll pay you back forever. It's what makes people trust you, believe in your vision, and want to work with you. I avoided sales for too long because it felt uncomfortable and that cost me years. But once I leaned into it, doors started opening. Lesson 18, invest early. The best time to start investing was yesterday. The second best time is today. When you're young, you think you'll deal with money later, but later comes faster than you expect. I wasted too much time of my early 20s buying things I didn't even need instead of investing. The earlier you invest in yourself, your skills, and eventually assets, the more compounding works in your favor. Don't wait until you're ready or making six figures. Start small. The point isn't the amount. The point is building the habit early so your 30s aren't about catching up. Lesson 19. You can't save your way to freedom. I've always been good at saving, sometimes maybe a little too much. In my 20s, I restricted what I did. Skipped nights out, held back on spending, and cut back on things I probably could have enjoyed. And while being disciplined helped, I also learned you can't save your way to millions. The truth is, the goal isn't just to hoard cash, it's to use money wisely, to invest, to grow, to spend on the things that multiply instead of things that disappear. Saving alone won't set you free, but protecting your money and putting it to work will. If you figure this out early, you'll buy yourself years of freedom. Lesson 20. Money is a tool. Here's what most young guys get wrong. They treat money like it's the end goal. It's not. Money is just a tool. It's the thing that buys you freedom. It buys you time, it buys you choices. I used to think if I just made more, I'd finally feel successful. But it never felt like enough. That's because money on its own isn't fulfilling. But money used as a tool to build independence, to support family, to create peace of mind, that's where it matters. Shift your perspective. Money isn't the destination, it's the vehicle that gets you there. Lesson 21. Choose your circle wisely. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. In my early 20s, I was surrounded by people who had no vision, no ambition, no real drive. And I became just like them. When you're around people who don't expect much out of life, you'll slowly start lowering your own standards without even noticing. The truth is, you can't outgrow your environment. If you want to grow, you need to be around people who are also growing. If you want to build, be around builders. Your circle will either push you forward or hold you down. Choose wisely because it matters. Lesson 22. Upgrade your network. Here's one of the fastest ways to change your life. Get around people who are already where you want to be. The conversations are different, the standards are higher, and what once felt impossible suddenly feels normal. I remember the first time I sat in a room with entrepreneurs who were making 100k plus per month. At first it shocked me. I couldn't even wrap my head around numbers like that. But then it hit me. These people aren't smarter than me. They're just playing the game differently. They built skills, systems, and networks that scaled. If you want to grow quickly in your 20s, upgrade your network. Put yourself in rooms where you feel small. That's where you'll grow the fastest. Lesson 23. Cut toxic relationships. Some of the hardest decisions you'll make in your 20s involve people. Friends who keep dragging you down, partners who bring chaos, even family members who guilt trip you into staying small. I had to learn the painful lesson that you can't build peace in your life if you're surrounded by chaos. And sometimes that means cutting or limiting toxic relationships. It doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop letting them control your future. If someone consistently drains you, distracts you, or holds you back, they don't belong in the center of your life. Protect your peace. Lesson 24. Manage your expectations. In your late 20s, it's easy to feel like you're behind. Society tells us by now we're supposed to be married, supposed to have bought a house, supposed to be settled into a career. And when you look around and see other people hitting those milestones, you start questioning yourself. Am I failing? Am I too late? I've been there too. But here's the truth. Timelines are made up. Everyone's path is different. Some people peak in their 20s, others build steadily and hit their stride in their 30s and 40s. The worst thing you can do is compare your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 10. Instead of worrying about where you should be, focus on where you're going. You're not behind. You're just on your own timeline. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Lesson 25. Quality over quantity. I was never the type who needed a big crowd around me. Even in my early 20s, I preferred keeping a small circle. At first, I wondered if that was a weakness, like maybe I was missing out by not having tons of friends. But over time, I realized it was actually a strength. Because when things get tough, most of those surface level friends disappear. A few solid real friendships are worth more than 100 fake ones. Quality over quantity always. Lesson 26. Stop avoiding the hard work. The thing you're avoiding is probably the exact thing that would change your life. For me, it was content creation. I avoided it for years because it felt uncomfortable. But the moment I faced it, everything shifted. We all have that thing we keep putting off. The gym, the business idea, the hard conversation. And we trick ourselves into thinking we're making progress by avoiding it. But the truth is, you can't escape the hard work. The longer you avoid it, the longer you delay your growth. Lean into it. The hard work is the shortcut. Lesson 27. Avoid black and white thinking. For a long time, I struggled with black and white thinking, especially with my diet. If I slipped up once, had a bad meal, went over my calories, missed a workout, I'd tell myself I'd failed completely. And because of that, I'd spiral, throw the whole week away, and start over next Monday. That mindset kept me stuck. What I learned is this: one bad meal doesn't ruin a diet, just like one mistake doesn't ruin your progress in your life. Success isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent over time. Once I stopped thinking in absolutes and started focusing on bouncing back quickly, everything changed. Progress is built in the grey, not in the black and white. Lesson 28. Master your emotions. In your 20s, life will test you. Things won't go as planned. You'll lose money, lose people, face setbacks, and feel like nothing's working. I went through it too. And what I realized is this: the difference between people who succeed and people who quit often comes down to emotional control. If you let frustration, anger, or fear run the show, you'll make reckless decisions or give up too early. But if you can stay calm, think logically, and keep moving even when things feel heavy, you win long term. Getting good at controlling your emotions isn't about being emotionless. It's about not letting temporary feelings destroy permanent goals. Lesson 29. Act from your future self. Here's a shift that changed everything for me. Stop making decisions from your current self and start making them from your future self. Ask, if I was already the person I want to be at 30, what choice would I make today? When I started thinking this way, my decisions changed. I stopped chasing short-term gratification and started prioritizing long-term growth. Acting from your future self forces you to align your present actions with your future vision. That's how you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Think long-term. Act like your future self now. Lesson 30. It's never too late. Maybe you feel like you've wasted years. I know I did. At 29, I looked back and I thought, damn, I should be further ahead. But here's the truth. It's never too late to turn things around. What matters is not how you started, but how you finish. The guys who feel behind in their 20s or early 30s can still build incredible lives if they start now. Every day is a chance to reset, to recommit, to change direction. Don't let regret keep you stuck. It's not too late. Start today and the next 5 years will look completely different. I hope you found this video useful. Instead of just leaving random comments, let's turn this section into a library of real lessons. Advice you wish you knew sooner so someone else doesn't waste the years we did. So if you're in your late 20s or 30s, drop your experience below. What's the one thing you wish you could have told yourself 10 years ago? Your story could be the thing that stops someone else from wasting years. And look, I know most of us didn't grow up with mentors. Nobody showed us how to build stability, how to make money outside of a job, or how to actually create independence. That's exactly why I started my school community. Because it's brand new, you'll be part of the community from day one. You'll be able to ask me questions directly, connect with others on the same path, and skip months or even years of trial and error. And the best part? You'll always have a place to plug in, get support, and stay accountable. This isn't hype. It's not about luck. It's just a clear, proven system that works if you're willing to work it. See you in the next one.